I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Everybody was asking me, how did I know to short Ford when it was November? And it was when Aunt B was telling us everything was fine. Well, what people didn't know is Aunt B was lying to us. Because when she was raising the rates, machinery sales were down 5.6%, computers were down 8.7%, communication equipment sales down 21%. I took a look at our chart and I saw that institutions were pulling money out of Ford. So we said, let's short Ford. And we did that in November, on November 10th, because my charts told me there was a big sell signal, and we took advantage of it. And you know that stock Ford has now dropped 17%. That's the return my gang has now, 17%. Don't follow any of the jibber-jabber from CNBC or the Fed. Follow me, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. I'm here to help you. I'm tired, and you should be tired, of listening to these financial shows like CNBC where they're all geniuses and they're always wrong. Look, stop worrying about the price to book and the price to sales and all the stuff they tell you think you need to know. You don't need to know any of that. Anybody can make money in the stock market using charts. It's about money flow. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
Saber que el tratamiento es completamente gratis nos quita una preocupación de encima.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything's been taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, many people left the stock market after the crash, and here's why.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
And that's still going on. That's your planner. They don't represent you. They represent themselves, your money manager. But you have to make a change. You can't change them. You make the change. Join my gang, philsgang.com, so that we can take care of you. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. We're hitting a new year, and you should, at the same time, come in with a new attitude, a new philosophy that you're going to make money when the stock market goes down. That's right. This is the third bubble, and you don't think it's going to crash? The first bubble did. The dot-com, the second bubble, the housing and financial con. Why do you think the third bubble, which is twice as big as the two previous bubbles, is any different? It's not different. Matter of fact, it's worse. It's going to go down faster. The stock market is going to go down 50%. You're going to lose 50% of the money you have in the stock market. You're going to lose 45% of the equity you have in your home. You're going to lose 30% of the money you have in your savings. Yes, you are. Trust me. Join my gang, Phil's gang, so that we can show you how to benefit, how to profit. But you can't just sit there and own a stock. You got to learn how to short the market. Join my gang. Learn how to short. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. You know, everybody, the hot stocks Apple or Google, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. What people don't understand is every stock is the same. If the institutions buy it, it goes up. If they don't, it goes down. It doesn't matter the name. That's why we use charts to identify money in, money out. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande, philsgang.com. I'm going to tell you something about your 401k that you don't know. You know the 401k is a tax code? That's what it is. Here's how it worked. In the 80s, you had pension funds, but they decided to give their CEOs a benefit on top of the pension. It was called 401k. That was to shelter their income. That way they could keep the CEOs because it was very competitive. But when all the jobs were shipped overseas, they no longer could keep pension funds. Too expensive. So they shifted all their employees to a 401k, duping you, thinking it was a good deal. But what they did is they charged hidden fees, which amount to about $250 billion a day, that they gave to lobbyists to go to Washington to make sure that this 401k would never be transparent. Here's what came of it.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
That's right. So join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch The Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to The Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
Donald, you've said you're going to build a beautiful wall, and Mexico is going to pay for it.
Right.
But you never say how.
So easy.
You say, believe me,
It's so
they are.
easy.
Believe me is not an answer.
Believe me.
How?
Let me tell you.
How are you going to make
Can I tell you? You have to stop and I'll tell you. Right. We're going to have a trade deficit this year, $58 billion. Okay. The wall's going to cost a fraction of that, maybe $10 or $12 billion. And it's going to be a real wall. It's going to be a high wall. It's going to be a beautiful. It's going to be a wall.
How do you get Mexico to pay for it?
Very simple. You have 5 different ways. Number one, here's the key. They are making, right, if you look at it, a company, $58 billion. The wall is a year. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion. All I have to do is start playing with that trade deficit, and believe me, they're going to pay for the wall.
We need a wall. We can't not afford to build a wall. Good afternoon. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. We've got to protect our country. We've got to protect our wages. We can't have these people coming over here and continue to take our jobs. It's killing our economy, for heaven's sakes. Here, listen to this. These jibber jabbers on these financial shows are just pathetic. Listen to this.
The most important thing to be watching is how I think the U.S. consumer is doing. We saw that even when the story there about Walmart. The most important thing is, to the extent that international developments ultimately come back or not to undermine, the U.S. domestic story. And the good news is, so far, there really isn't. I mean, the U.S. economy is showing a lot of resilience.
Resilience? What are you nuts? Resilience? Factory orders. We have factory orders, weak manufacturing, weak industrial production, the weakest in 10 years. And here's what they do. They mask the plummeting growth rate of consumer spending. It's all about consumer spending, and they mask it by increasing part-time jobs. So she'll say, oh, look how resilient they are. Look at all the jobs we have. Part-time jobs went from 4.5 million to now over 8 million part-time jobs. 28 million part-time jobs, low-paying jobs. That's historic. What is she talking about? They're resilient. Resilient? What are you, nuts? And then what I love when they say, they bring the numbers in. Oh, look at this. Spending's up. Wow, look at this. Consumers are spending more. No, they're not. They're not spending more. We have inflation. We have all kinds of inflation. Go to the supermarket. Look what's going on in the supermarket. Are you kidding me? And they try to count that as, oh, look at this. The economy is doing better. Doing better? No. You see, they use the gross sales. as a number. In other words, we had, just take strawberries. Strawberries are up 39.6%. So when they say, oh, look at this, look at the numbers, consumers are spending, boy, aren't they resilient? I remember that dummy, that dope Leisman, who once said, right before the housing crash, he came out and said, look how resilient the consumer is. They're spending more than they're making. And this is when they took somebody who they shipped his job overseas, this $58,000 job. He now has a $28,000 job. He lives in a 1,500 square foot house, paying $600 a month. And so they decide to finance this guy, go buy a $3,000 house, and we'll finance it so his payment's only $200. Resilient? Easy credit, easy terms. That's not resilient. That's stupid. You put him in a house he can't afford. I mean, it's incredible. They keep on. I mean, look at this. Boneless ham up 14%. Grapefruit 13%. This is crazy. Whole frozen turkey 34%. White potatoes 28%. But consumers aren't resilient. And you know, when we talk about Trump, he will build that wall. Because here's what he knows that nobody else knows. You can't keep on taking our country, keep shifting the jobs overseas, and keep bringing back these low-wage jobs. For example, the low-wage industries accounted for only 22% of the job losses during the downturn, but 54% of the jobs gained. We lose 22% of terrible, lousy, low-wage jobs, service jobs, and they claw back. Instead of the 22% that they lost, they claw back 54%. But take the higher wage industries that account for 41% of the job losses. They only claw back 18% of those. But low wages, they lose 22%, but claw back 54%. They claw back twice as many. Are you nuts? So if we're going to let these people come over from Mexico and take these jobs, we're suffering enough. Here's the other thing. We got to have the wall. This immigration bill is nuts. And they'll get this bill through at some point. But you need a president like Obama. And Obama, geez, God, what happened to me? You need a president like a Trump or Cruz. I prefer Trump. You may prefer Cruz. Rubio, he's too young. I don't think he shaves yet. Let him go the next time. I think Rubio will be great. I think the best thing Rubio could do is be the vice president for Trump. Then in 8 years run, he'll be ready. But when he got me with Rubio, he was really pushing. He was really pushing this immigration bill. And that 1,000-page immigration bill that he was pushing is all full of goodies and perks. It's all about crony capitalism. Nobody really ever looks at this thing. Congress sits there and picks winners and losers because they're owned by the corporations, by the monopolies. And of course, whatever laws they want written, Congress will write them. So they tell them what the winners and losers to pick. They determine who receives the money, who does not. Now, Congress, remember, is full of lawyers, so they're going to take care of their own cronies, especially the immigration lawyer. Nobody understands this. In the bill, they're building in this bill, immigration bill, for the lawyers, incentives for immigrants to sue. To sue. They're creating an incentive for an immigrant to come over, an illegal come over, and sue us. They're setting up an appellate authority that authorizes and incentivizes massive class action lawsuits regarding immigrant status. And you and I are going to have to, we're going to be paying, we're bearing the cost for these suits. But they're incentivizing these suits. They're telling sue, because we got a budget for it. So that all the immigration lawyers can make a fortune. It's all about crony capitalism. We're going to be on the hook for providing a lawyer to these illegal aliens, both illegal and legal, by the way, regardless of their ability to afford their own lawyer. If they could even afford their own lawyer, they don't. No, they don't have to. No, don't worry, we'll provide one for you in our budget. So in the immigration bill, if an legal or illegal wants to sue, and let's say he has money to get his own lawyer, they say, "Oh, don't use your own money. Are you kidding? Are you nuts? We got to build the wall 100 feet high." We'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, Phil's Gang.
Anybody who puts money in my pocket is my friend. And Phil Grande can do the same for you. Learn how to grow and invest your money. Here's Phil Grande.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com, click on the video channel graphic, and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Remember, if you want to subscribe to Phil's Gang, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-GANG. Or go to my website, philsgang.com. There is Stephen and Denise. They're manning the phone, so if you want to call and visit with them and ask about the gang membership, the subscription, they're there now. 877-600-GANG. Now, I want to talk about some stocks. Oil. We always want to buy stocks that have been beaten up that nobody wants. Before people really get here. It's kind of like a restaurant. You ever notice a new restaurant opens up, nobody knows about the restaurant yet? You go in, it's fantastic, right? Great food, great portions. The waitress comes right over, gives you a drink right away. You don't have to beg for a drink. You don't have to beg for your bill when you want to leave. Can't be better. And you just hope nobody tells anybody about this restaurant. You found a nice little restaurant, terrific. Soon as everybody finds out about it, everything falls apart. Portions get fewer. You got to beg for a drink. After you finish, they take your credit card. You don't see them for 3 hours. You got to chase them around the building, try to find them. They're out in the kitchen smoking or something. Crazy, right? It's the same thing with stocks. You want the stocks that nobody wants. You want the stocks that nobody wants. And it's oil, just like we did with gold. Now, the gold stocks, the mining stocks, were really terrific. Take AU. All we needed for my gang, and I showed them, and we showed them in the class, we said, look, we're going to buy gold mining stocks and nobody wants them. We bought AU. All we had to show them on a chart was the buy signal. That's the key. The buy signal. That's the key. When to buy, then when to get out. Because the buy signal is the most important thing in a stock. And how you know is because the technology will monitor the big institutional buyers. Let them do all the research. Let J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all the gangsters, let them do all the research. And they'll start buying. Then it shows up on your chart and you buy. Somebody asked me today about a company. It was a, I can't remember, KMI, I think it was. It was the, I think that was the company. Let me just check. It was, I think it was the, oh, yeah, I think it was the oil company. And it was, yeah, Kinder. And they must have heard it on CNBC. They said somebody's buying them or something's going on. So the stock went up. The low was at well, let's use the low around $14, and it shot up today, gapped up to about 18. So that's about 20%. So everybody says, should I get in and buy it? No. You should have been in it before it gapped up, because if you have the technology, when they're telling you on CNBC or Fox about a stock and they're going to do this and like this, they're going to merge. I forgot what the story was. This with this, Buffett's going to buy it or somebody's going to buy it. That's old news. Do you really think the gangsters on Wall Street play fair? Do you think that you get the news? Do you think Kramer and Fox and these people, you think they're going to give you the news first? What are you, nuts? It doesn't work that way. The institutions already knew about this stock going all the way back to the end, to the beginning of January. How do you know? January 25th. Because you can see in the pattern on your chart that everything started to consolidate. After the stock dropped from $25 down to $11, 25 to 11, that's a big drop. That started to consolidate. That's a 56% drop. All of a sudden, bam, it stops going down. And then you see another pattern that tells you it's a consolidation, and that pattern tells you there's a buy signal. So you go in and you start buying. And sure enough, you're in it before it breaks out. Now, today, everybody's going to jump in and buy this thing. Then it's going to go down because the guys who got in first, they're going to take their profits. You got to be in stocks before you hear the jibber jabbers, before you hear the news. That's how stocks work. AU is a great example. We got into AU, and that was our gold mining stock on December 3rd. Do you know right now AU is up over 40%? AU's up 40%. We were able to guide our gang members from the very beginning of that stock when nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. But same thing. We started to see where the institutions were coming in, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all these, were accumulating it. So then we got a buy signal. Now they're all talking about buying gold last week, buying these stocks last week. I'm sorry, it's already gone up 40%. Are you kidding? That's like getting on a train from New York to Boston, but you buy the ticket a mile outside of Boston, but you pay for the whole ride. What are you, crazy? So when they tell you it's not about timing, it's always about timing. And that's why it's important. If you're going to create any kind of wealth, if you're going to create wealth, you got to take responsibility yourself. Matter of fact, a new law just came out. You see they're talking about passing this new law for small businesses that have 401ks, people with less than companies that have less than 100 people. Unbelievable. Here we go again, Congress. They're being bought by our owners. So first they screw our savers. They screw the seniors. They reduce their savings to less than a 0.25%. Not even that. And now if you have a 401k, and of course the fees kill you in your 401k. They screw you with the fees. You lose 65% of the money you save. The day you retire, 65% is gone. But now they're going to try to screw you again if you work for a small business. If you are in a business with less than 100 people, 100 employees, who offer 401ks, Congress is now passing a law that says the financial advisors who work with small businesses to help you with your 401k now have to be, the new law, they're going to be held to a fiduciary standard. Fiduciary standard, they said, which means putting their clients' interests before their own. What are you, nuts?
Our responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
So how do you think that went over? When we get back from the break, I'm going to tell you how that went over, and we'll take a look at some more stocks. Join my gang, Phil's gang. 28 past the hour.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, my name is
Welcome back to Phil's Gang Radio Show. For more information, simply go to philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. If you want to subscribe to my gang membership, 877-600-GANG. Now, we were talking about a few things here. About the, first of all, talking about immigration. And we're talking about our stock market. Because everything really, you put it all together, just the same old, same old. And everything that happens on Wall Street, everything happens in Washington, it all comes together. Everything comes together. It used to be, in Wall Street, we never cared about what was going on in Washington. We could care less about the politics. I'd find a company that was undervalued. They changed the management. We buy the stock, hold on for years. Good investment. Your advisor, your broker, he worked for you. He was like your accountant, your doctor. He was getting paid $180, $280 every time you bought a stock. He was making a good living. That's all changed now. It's all changed. We've got a bunch of banksters running Wall Street, looking out for themselves. I just talked a few minutes ago about this new bill, 100. If you have a small business, you offer 401ks. If you're a small business with 100 less, well, guess what? Now the Congress says, okay, all you advisors now, you got to have a fiduciary relationship with these people, but only these companies with 100 or less employees. You got to have a fiduciary relationship. You got to put them before you. How do you think that worked out? The first thing the financial service industry did, they stopped. They gave a bunch of reasons. Oh, we can't do that. I'm sorry, we're leaving. The reasons? Wow, there's a lot of, this is now going to increase the complexity, the cost, and liability generated. It's going to be terrible by this new law. We just can't service these small companies. These people have 401ks. We feel terrible about it. Because without our advice, they're going to lose $114 billion a year. What are you, nuts? It's the best thing that ever happened to these people. They don't have them around anymore. $250 billion a year is what they steal from burning and churning stocks, trading them every day you don't know about. Then they take those trades and they hide them in the net asset value of your 401k. So they hide it so they don't see the massive trading going. Your 401k manager, he's in there trading, day trading in and out. $250 billion a day they skim from 89 million people who have these 401ks, the snake oil is what it is. Snake oil. So now they're saying, oh boy, now you're not going to have our advice and you're going to lose all kinds of money. So, no, the real reason, because they can't make money if they are honest with you. If they have a fiduciary relationship, put you ahead of themselves, they possibly can't make money. The industry was never set up for you to make money. The retail customer. The industry was always set up for the institutional guys to make money. Not you, not the retail customers. They don't even give you good information anymore. I have to laugh. They're saying, oh, all this advice now, they're not going to, the advisors are going to leave, so these poor businesses with 100 people or less, they're going to lose all that great advice. What? They don't get any advice. They don't do any research. If you don't have a $2 million account on Wall Street, you don't get any research. Believe me, nobody's taking care of you. They don't even look at you. What a bunch of nonsense. So Congress goes in. You know why Congress did it? Because they wanted out of these companies. They're never going to make money being honest. Are you kidding? It's just crazy. Just like going back to taking our jobs. Nobody in Congress is going to be honest with us about this immigration bill. Listen to these two characters.
You know, the lines are very, very clear. Marco right now supports citizenship for 12 million people here illegally. I oppose citizenship. Marco stood on the debate stage and said that. But I would note, not only that, Marco has a long record when it comes to amnesty. In the state of Florida, as Speaker of the House, he supported in-state tuition for illegal immigrants.
And that's true.
When that issue was being debated, Ted Cruz at a committee hearing very passionately said, I want immigration reform to pass. I want people to...
No, I don't want to waste time listening to these guys, okay? We got to do business. But again, this bill that they passed, this immigration bill, is not to help you. It's going to hurt our workers. You're going to have less pay. Our economy's not going to grow. And who's going to benefit? The immigration lawyers. $50 million grant. $50 million. We have a $19 trillion debt. And every year we're running about $1 trillion in deficits. We spend $1 trillion more than we take in, and now we're going to set up $50 million grant, print this money, borrow it or print it, and give a grant to some pal, some crony, to set up a company to assist applicants through the process of applying for amnesty. Are you nuts? The initial entry, adjustment, and citizenship assistance grant program. That's what they call it. I'm sorry. $100 million is what they're going to have for that program. $100 million on top of the other. So it's $150 million. Sorry. And then they're setting up the Legal Services Corporation. That used to be for U.S. citizens only. An alien with a legal status, no more. They're expanding it now to illegals. So if you have a grievance now, you can go get this. You can go to one of these lawyers, one of these legal service lawyers. So you and I are now going to fund legal services, free lawyers for any of these illegal and legal aliens. And we're going to bring more of them over now. We want to bring more of them over. Now listen to this. In the immigration bill, the lawmakers included special provisions for specific special interest groups that they're not going to get capped how many H-2B visas they're going to get. Because they usually cap the visas, how many they're going to give out, H-2B. But they're going to take care of their pals. So, guess what who these special interest groups are? Ski and snowboard instructors. Ski and snowboard instructors. Can you believe this? Snowmobile instructors. They can get as many H-2B visas as they want. Is this crazy or what? This is nuts. This is not what our... And the worst thing about this bill, too, is that our founders always felt the power should go to states because the states know how to take care of their own citizens. But this bill doesn't allow the states to get involved at all. It's going to be the federal government who oversees all these programs. This is crazy. And how does this affect you? Your 401k? Oh, darn right it does. Because the more people we keep bringing in and the more jobs they keep taking, that means we're going to have the continued corrupt system where they got to move stocks up, not with earnings, not with high-paying jobs. So guys pays his bills. He's got money at the end of the month. He can go down to the store and buy stuff, and therefore the earnings go up and the stock goes up from $10 to $20. No more. They're going to push these stocks up by printing money, giving money to the companies at zero interest to buy their own shares back. So we got a fake earnings, got a fake stock prices, and that's why you got to be prepared for it. You got to have the technology today. This is not your grandmother's or grandfather's stock market or your father's stock market. And this is where you can create value. Look what's going on with Schlumberger. We just talked about this a little bit ago. Schlumberger was one of our best stocks. Remember I told you watch oil? I told everybody gold and oil is going to be the best for this year. That's where all the money is going to be made. And especially Schlumberger. And we're going to talk about Schlumberger when we get back. Because you got to keep your eye on the oil, especially the oil service stocks, to create wealth. Are you kidding? This is nuts. Join my gang. Subscribe today. philsgang.com.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Put your money to work. Make your investments pay. Listen to Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
I'm self-funding my campaign, as you know, Thomas. I'm putting up my own money. The other people are getting money from all of the different industries, from the pharmaceutical industry, et cetera, et cetera. All of those people were in the hall. I had no people, except for my family. I had no people in the hall because of the fact that I'm not special interest. I'm not getting special interest or donor money.
What a refreshing thought. We're going to have a president, hopefully, that he can tell everybody go to hell. Isn't that great? See, Congress, they can't do it. The people sitting in Congress can't do that. Obama can't do that. They're always dependent on money. It's always raising money. Every day, that's all they do is raise money. And by the way, I say, we don't have a Republican. We don't have a Democrat party. It's one party. And they have a big party with our money. And I just went over with you the big waste that's going on right now. If they pass this immigration bill that Rubio and Cruz is always yakking about. But we need somebody like Trump because we got to help our VA. We got to help our veterans. Did you read what's going on here in the veteran hospital? I think it's in Ohio, in Cincinnati. Two administrators in this hospital put cuts in. Said, we want to cut the budget. Made reductions. They reduced staffing, but here's what else they did. They told the nurses they were being too picky because they were cutting all the surgical equipment in the hospital rooms. That what they were doing is taking the surgical equipment, and some always would have the soil with blood, the needles. Sometimes they have bone fragments on it, and they'd reuse them. They're reusing this stuff. They're reusing surgical equipment with blood and bone fragments on it. And when they complained, the administrator said to the nurses, you're being too picky. Can you believe this? Nothing has changed at the VA. Obama has done nothing. Isn't that terrible? So hopefully we get somebody like Trump that's in there who's not obligated to these lobbyists. Now, let's talk about oil, because oil, it's all about lobbyists. But one thing I know about oil, the oil service stocks, you can create wealth with an oil service stock, more wealth than you can with an oil company like BP and so forth. Now, Schlumberger, give you an example. You don't have to know anything about the company. We shorted Schlumberger. It was back in November. And it was a 23% return. Shorted. Knowing it was going to go down, we shorted it. And then we had a buy signal. We had another buy signal in Schlumberger to go the other way. That we saw institutions were coming in and buying. It was around January 24th and 25th. And now it's up about 12%. So we identified the sell signal, and there was a 23% return. And now we identified and went the other way with a buy signal. It's the same institutions that are coming in and buying and selling. That's all you have to do. You have to follow them. And that's what we do here. Now, again, I'm not telling you every gang member made 23% or 12%. They have their own risk parameters, where they get in, how much they want to, shares they want to buy. It's our job to point out to them, here's the buy signal. This is why it's a good buy signal. Here's the pattern. Okay, now it's time to get out, because here's the signals. They're telling you to get out. Now, where they get in and get out, it's up to them. But I'm telling you where the buy signals were in the short, especially the shorting signal. And and this is true. So it's not your grandfather's market anymore, your mother's market. There's too much, when you have these banksters and these hedge funds running everything, and you got the corruption with Congress, the stock market's not going to go anywhere. And it's going to keep going up, and then it's going to break, come back down, go back up. You're going to continue to have these bubbles, and you can make wealth. You can create wealth in these bubbles. You really can if you know what you're doing. You know, we're talking about oil. Well, drivers are celebrating their $320 savings. Wow. $320 savings at the gas pump. But wait a minute. Over $1 trillion is being wiped out in the stock market. The bankruptcies in the oil companies have gone up 380%. You don't think this has been done on purpose? Of course it has. Are you kidding? The hedge funds, the banksters are making a fortune. 160,000 jobs have been lost. Are you kidding? They don't care about that. Even Russia lost 20 billion. Saudi Arabia has lost 100 billion with all this oil going down. And Venezuela, who of course our socialist Bernie Sanders wants to model the U.S. after. But that's a great move right there. You see what's going on in Venezuela? Are you kidding? It's one of the most dangerous countries in the world now. 14 years ago when he got in there, how could you do this? 14 years ago he takes over, Chavez, $1 trillion he gets in oil revenues. Now the company is broke. I mean, the country's broke. It's out of cash. Now they got to keep printing money. This is what our friend wants to do. Sanders, are you kidding me? He wants to do the same thing that Chavez did when he became the president of Venezuela. He wants to do the same thing. Are you kidding? Same socialism. So now there's total chaos. Crime has increased. So it's now considered the most dangerous place in the world. No, he did the same thing. He wanted to take in all the immigrants. Chavez, he's out taking all the immigrants. He broke up the banks, provided all the free college tuition, free health care, free everything. He raised taxes at 80%. Sanders is looking to raise taxes on the rainmakers, the entrepreneurs, the job providers, the small business owners who make between $135,000 and $250,000. He wants to move their tax rate to 83.9%. Are you kidding me? When they're paying 83.9% of all income tax collected now that goes to the Treasury? And those who make $58,000 contribute just 5.9%? And you want to take on the small businessmen? That's what happened in Venezuela, and that's why Venezuela is broke. The top 20% of earners contribute 84% of all the income tax that goes to the Treasury. And the wealthiest 1% contribute what? 50%. 50% of all income tax paid to the Treasury. So his idea is to go and keep raise taxes again on these people. That's crazy. It's insane. This is nuts. Yet, our seniors, right, because it's so corrupt, are paying higher taxes on their Social Security benefits than billionaires pay on their stocks. It's nuts. The top earners in the bottom 50% of Americans only make $36,000 a year. The bottom earners in the top 1,000th of 1% make more than $62 million a year. $62 million per year is what it takes to be a top 1,000th 1%. And those are the poorest of the richest households. On average, the top earners make more than $160 million a year. That's 160 times richer than the average 1%er who only makes about $1.5 million a year. Those top earners are paying a lower tax rate than the working class Americans and the retiree, especially the retiree. How did this all come about? Because they make so much money, they grab all the power, they got all the influence over Congress. They essentially have written themselves out of the tax code. That's amazing. So now, you and me, only the regular working people in the United States, the doctors, the plumbers, the servers, and small businesses like myself, pay taxes. That's who's paying all the taxes. This is nuts. This is crazy. That's why, again, you're going to create wealth. It's in the stock market. Subscribe right now. 877-600-GANG. Denise is there to take your phone call. See you in a chart.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me.